Alright, so I've begun doing the turbine housing. This is V-band turbine housing. And I started out just, cutting strips, pasting them on. Working okay, but then I kind of got forced to go back to using my tape templates. So I just tape off where I want it to begin and end, and then I peel this off, lay it on the paper, trace it out, and I generally go a little bit longer, and then if you have extra you can trace it off. But it's been working. The 1/8" KO wool, same stuff that I've got linked down in the description. So yeah, one other tip, if this is a brand new turbine housing you're doing like this one, they're pretty oily. So I've had good luck just taking a rag, spraying brake cleaner on it, and scrubbing her down. Before I did that, I couldn't even get this heavy duty adhesive to stick to it. But after that, it's been going on pretty easy. All right, here she is. She's all wrapped up. So I just did the old tape template for pretty much all of it. Just taped out little sections, peeled the tape off, and then traced it out on the paper. Pretty easy to do, just time consuming. And then tomorrow I'm going to start on the stainless steel cover. I left enough room all the way around to be able to tack the pieces, but I think I'll end up doing the same process and just using tape to make the metal and try to make them all fairly uniform. These are not really uniform. It started to get uniform towards the end, but all right, picking up again. I did the same thing. I just, for the metal, I just traced out, I taped it off, peeled it off, laid that tape down on the metal, got this piece, fitted it up. See, it's gonna get down in there nice, tack it onto the exposed metal points. So one thing I'm gonna try on this piece though, instead of leaving it silver, I'm gonna hit it with a propane torch and turn it purple. I wish I would have done that with the downpipe, but once it's on, it's a real pain in the butt to make it even. This is a piece that's completely hidden, so I experimented on it. But if you do it before you install it, it's pretty easy to get a consistent solid color. So you just want to heat it with propane torch. First it'll start to turn like a golden color, and then after gold, it'll get like a dark gold, and then you're getting close to purple. If you heat it too much, it'll go blue. So what I'm aiming for is just a nice deep purple color, and you just want to move fast. And yeah, I'm gonna go give it a shot, and then we'll get the spot welder out and tack this first piece on, and then just continue until she's done. All right, so I've got 2 pieces down. If you're not going to do any, if you're not going to try to change the color of these or anything with heat like I'm going to attempt, you can just tack these on as you work. And I'd just kind of get her lined up, and I'd probably work, I'd tack, work along the top. You come over to this side, same thing. Remember to use a punch to kind of form it in areas, press it down so you get the shield pressing down on metal. But since I'm gonna try to turn these purple with heat, I'm just doing them all like this. So what I'll do from here, I'm trying to keep them all these slices around 2 inches in length. I'm hoping it'll just look a little more uniform. So with the overlap to around this line of dots is another 2-inch mark. So what I'll do is I'll take my painter's tape and I'll just tape from here all the way down to here, and get the tape to kind of go down under the metal where you want, so the steel can have something to tack into. And actually, you know, I can just start on it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but let's just do a little bit here. The painter's tape is pretty forgiving. It doesn't bite real hard into the wool. Just don't press down on it real hard and you'll be fine. And this will give us a nice template. This side looks good. This side, actually, we need to go down a little deeper. And it's better to go a little too long. You can always trim back the metal. I don't know if you can see what I'm looking at here on the camera. Go. Okay, there's our rough template now. Oh, we did take a little bit there, not bad though. Alright, so then we'll put this down here. And I'd recommend having gloves on. This stuff doesn't cut you. A lot of sharp edges in there. I'll just take this. Stick it down there, and since the bottom of this is fairly flat, I could just butt it right up to the edge of this and then save myself a cut. Something like that. And just take your marker. And trace it out. And take your tape off. Grab your scissors and start cutting. Well, it's pretty much the exact same process as the wool. Every once in a while the steel will kind of, instead of cutting, it'll fold over. Oh, now we're back. I'll switch to these guys. Maybe I'll just come at it from the other end. piece. Got a little bit more trimming to do on it. Not too bad looking. All right, let's hold this up. That one there. That's roughly there. This is roughly where this one's going to live. Let's just kind of see how it's going to behave. Yeah, looks pretty darn good. Okay, and then from here, I'll take into account my overlap, but basically a little ways in here, down 2 inches. I'll mark it here with marker, tape it off, peel the tape off, trace it out, and then I'm just going to keep doing that process until I get all the way done. Like I said, if you're not going to try to heat these up and change the color, I'd be tacking as I go. It'll be easier. But you could do it this way. So, okay, I'm going to get on to the next piece, and then I'll probably pop in. I don't think I'm going to show all these, but maybe when I get back down to some of this tighter area, I will. See how we can finish off those. All right, you can kind of see here's again what it looks like, and this is kind of what it would look like if I got done with it. I think this stuff's just too bright for the engine bay. I'm sure it would, you know, lighten up a little bit over time, but fuck it, let's try it out. I guess worst case I'll cut some more out. It's pretty easy to do. We're getting some color there. Not bad. These edges should be kind of, you know, tucked away and hidden. I think we can go warmer. Here where it's purple yet. Well, let's check it out. All right. Well, that ain't bad. Starting to get a little hot over here. We were. And this looks like it could go darker. avoid that side. Well, there we go. What do you think? I don't know. It's weird, on that other practice piece I torched the living shit out of it and it never got blue like this, but yeah, you know, like I said, I guess worst case I'll paint the shit. I kind of want it to fold the other way so it can, so I can use this table as a bit of a heat sink. Too hot right there. Alright. And again, the edge will be tucked around the side of the turbine housing, so I'm not too worried about that piece, but I mean, I suppose, I guess we're in too deep now. There's no turning back. Let's try another. Looking pretty gold. I think we could go a little more. Seems like you have to have the bottom pretty much silvered out to get the purple on the other side. We're gonna need to avoid, yeah, the corners are getting a little hot. Yeah, looks like she needs a little more yet. Alright. Can't remember how this piece went. Like that. Alright, so that's it's looking pretty uniform. Minus the edges, but you won't really see them. I think we're gonna rock it. Alright, back to making more of these. Alright, let's turn on our handy dandy Amazon spot welder. We got her setting just a little over 4. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna start tacking these on. See how they look. Give them one more test fit here. Oh yeah, looks pretty dang good. Let's just see how this shit goes. It's always trickiest getting the first couple tacks put down. Maybe I'll start on this side here. Alright, let's settle down. Gotta make sure I leave enough room for that V-band clamp. So you can see this. There we go. Alright, before I get too carried away, I'm gonna fold this over and make sure this side's gonna be happy yet. Oh yeah, it's gonna be just fine. And then if you get these tacked down and you don't like something, they're not that hard to break loose. So you can always just pry them loose. And just like with the downpipe, we're gonna come in here and kind of pre-form these into place. I'm just gonna throw one tack weld here in the center to kind of keep it situated. Just go right there and there. Okay. Let that wrap into there. Get a punch out. Now down in here you can see is where we're going to have to do a little bit of shaping. I'll probably try to get a good tack right down in there to hold this steel nice and tight to the turbo. Just press all these down. Alright, let's throw a few more on. I kind of like to go, let's see, I already got it. Do I have a tack there? I think I do. Yeah, looks like a good spot. Foot pedal, where are you at? Alright, let's throw another one in. Alright. Let's form this Looks like there's a little bit of excess here. I should be able to just kind of bend that down in there. Throw some tacks in there. Oops, and keep that all happy. Yep, should be able to get one right in there. So I think I'm going to try to lock this thing down on this side. This is where these short-ass cables are not ideal. See if I can lay this down. Keep that one pinned right there. Oh, fucker didn't stick. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna get in here and warm this up. I think I have some insulation. There we go. The fucker keeps letting go. Okay, it's starting to bite in there. Oh, I gotta press this stuff down. Get one to stick down there. Alright, not bad looking. Let's take a look back, look at this side. Alright, now we gotta get our buddy down here to cooperate. Oh, the fucker blew through. That was a good one. Couple right there. one piece on. Let's throw another on. On this one, I'm probably gonna make sure I got enough overlap. Line up that side, line up that side, and then I might actually start right in the middle and then work my way out. Fucking hard to do with one hand. I learned you don't want to be too close to the edge or you'll burn through. Okay, got one there. Let's make sure everything's... That side looks good. That side looks good. I left the V-band clamps on here just so I know I've got enough room. Let's throw a few more down. Lay this thing down. Press some of these down. Throw a couple here. All right. I think we're safe to button this end down. One thing I'm not liking is I got a little bit of a bulge going on here, right here. I might have to snap, see how easy it is to snap them back loose? I think I need this one to go down a little deeper. See if I can get this to... stay down there. Okay, that's better. All right, now let's work on this side. I'll kind of do the same thing. Try to form that down in there. Okay, how to secure this to the turbine housing down here. Oh fuck, we just busted through there. Let's try here. There we go. All right, it's starting to take shape. Always come back and like to come back and make sure all these ridges are all the way down. We'll probably hit this in a few more spots. Right there for sure. Okay. Got a little bit of telescoping going on here, but not bad. If it gets too bad, I can make a slit and squeeze it together, overlap it, and weld it. Let's see how this piece is going to look. Alright, this piece actually looks like it's going to be short. I think what happened was I didn't account for the extra length I'd need to overlap this. I got away with it on this piece here, but not on the next one, so I'll have to redo that one. So what I'll do is I'll take this same piece and I'll lay it out over the tin. I'll trace it out again and I'll just make it a little longer. All right, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, back with my new longer piece. And I think I'm getting a little better at heating these things. And I'm gonna go ahead and spot weld this one into place. Be the same as the last process, and I don't want this video to get too long, so I'm just gonna turn the camera off and knock this one out. All right, here's what we're leaving off for the day. I'm happy with how the colors turned out. So I'm not quite halfway there, but yeah, it doesn't seem that bad. You do have to kind of get in here and form these a little bit, but otherwise it's pretty much the same as doing the downpipe. So we'll pick back up tomorrow. All right, a little over halfway there. And I got a handle on the color changing. So I just got this next piece cut out. I was going to give a few more little tips on fitting it up. So when you I did the same thing as always. Taped over this open area, pulled it off, traced it out on this cutout. A lot of times you can take, before you really get fitting it up, and bend, give this a little bend, and then add little wings to both sides of these so it can really scoop in around here. And then it'll fit up a lot easier. I was going to show you heating up one of these. So I found to get the most consistent color, you need to heat the backs. So if this is the side that's going to show, you want to heat this side. It's just too hard to get a consistent color with the flame on the side that's going to show. I couldn't get it all one color because it goes from purple to blue almost instantly. It's real tricky. And there's so many pieces, I wanted it to look halfway uniform. It's a little more dull though than the flame side. If you were able to get it just right, it is a good bit brighter. But I just opted to do it this way for consistency. So let's take this piece over to the bench, and I'm gonna use some alcohol and a rag to get this marker off of it, and then we'll heat this side up and get it matching this. All right, we're over at the workbench. This is the side that's going to show. It's cleaned up. This is the side we're going to heat. I'm just using regular propane. I've tried MAP gas. It's a little too hot. So let's go ahead and heat her up. Got a little color in her. I kind of like it when oh yeah, it's pretty hot. I'm gonna put my welding gloves on for this. Actually, just give it a second to cool off. There we go. I kind of like it to lay this way. Otherwise, when those flare up on the sides, they grab heat a lot easier. Okay, so we got the top half done. Yeah, you can see it's a nice bit shinier. Alright, so that went through really nice on the other side. Now we'll do this side. I'll focus on the top here. You'll see right in the center here, it's a little harder to get it to change colors because that's the part that's touching this big slab of steel. It's acting like a heat sink. But you can see, yeah, the middle there is a little golden. So I'm gonna see if I can maybe prop this up with something. Try to focus on the center section now, and then we should be done. All right, I think that'll work. So that's what we get. It's kind of a purplish, a little underlying gold in it. I think you can see some of the gold in the valleys of the ridging, and most of the peaks are a nice purple. Let's go hold it up to the rest of it, see how well it matches. Yeah, so it looks about like the other ones. Alright, so now we'll fit this over here. Prop this up a little bit. I just aim for a, around a 1/4 inch overlap. And then I'll go down and I'll check to make sure that I'm even on both sides, and I need to come that way a little bit. And then you want to make sure that this bottom here is snug to the insulation down here. Alright, so I can kind of see where it's going to live. Now I'm going to kind of bend those wings into place, like so. Check both sides again. Not looking bad. And then lastly, I'll take my thumbs and I'll just kind of form this top section here. Get it hugging in there real nice. Kind of like that. And the corners a little bit. Check both sides. That side might actually need a little trim, which I can do here in a second. But so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take my 2 fingers, keep this pinned, and I'm going to throw a tack right in the middle. Right about there. Oh shit, up it. That was not a great one. Let's try right here. Alright, now it'll kind of stay put. Okay. Now we'll kind of finish forming this. Yeah, and this side over here looks perfect. This side over here is a tiny bit long. I'm gonna give it a little trim. You see it's getting down there close to the clamp. All we gotta do is just open this up, get in here, give it a little haircut. Like that. Oh, look at that. Fucking perfect. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to give it a few more tacks here. I'm pretty happy with where it's sitting. Always the trickiest part is running this one-handed pair of these fuckers. Actually, I think what I'm going to do instead is lay this on its side. Oh, and you know what? I could trim a tiny bit more off right here. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to keep this pinned in here. Go down in here. Give her a couple good tacks. Alright, that side's done. And we can come in here and give a few tacks along this ridge. Double check this side, it's still good. Go there, there, and there, and there. Oop, oop, oop. Right, little fucker, stay still. Okay, that looks good. Again, a lot of times I'll come back with a punch, lay it flat. Kind of form this ridge in here. Alright, now we'll do the same thing over here. About there and there. There we go. Oh, it didn't take. Let's try it again. Alright, there we go. Alright, put a few more. Let's come back to this side. All right, that piece is on. I'll kind of do some last minute forming. See the gap down in the bottom is, it's pretty snug down here. Come in here and kind of work this in. Alright, looks like we're gonna have about 1, 2, 3, about 5 more little pieces. It should be done. So yeah, I'm kind of liking how it looks. I wish I would have done this to the downpipe earlier. See how bright the downpipe is. And I'm not really wanting to take that bad boy back off. I'd have to take it all apart, I think, to do it right, to change its color. So I'm either gonna leave it or I will paint it. We'll see. Alright, but yeah, I just wanted to throw another piece in. But it's gonna be that exact same process for the rest of this thing until we get down to this little area here. And I'll probably just make a thin little strip that can jump from here to here and cover, and then should be done. So that's really all there is to it. And I'll go in, if I got any high spots, I'll press these in, and I might come back and do one more row of tacks. yeah, so I'm just gonna finish her up again, but yeah, hopefully that helps give an idea on the color changing and getting these fitted in here. It's, like I said, not difficult, just time consuming. I'd say this is a little more difficult than doing the downpipe, but not bad. All right, we're down to the last piece. Oh, she's looking wild, huh? I like it. All right, so last little piece. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tape this off here, a couple strips of tape, and then this last strip I'm going to have it come down and touch on this metal and on this metal, and that should tie the whole thing together. So we can kind of do that real quick. And then another thing, as you work along here, I've had to get my razor blade out and slice off some of the insulation to give me more room for tacking. So this piece is ready on both sides. Another thing that's been helpful is take your razor blade, and if you cut the tape perfectly even, it makes it easier when you're doing your template. So I'll just put that guy there. Yeah, looking good. But yep, so I'm just going to keep taping this up. So and then when you, like, I want to follow the curvature of this piece. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory, but you can just take your tape, and then as you run it along here, just let it kink in the middle, but just follow it all the way around. And then you can take your little folds in the tape, and then I always throw a piece of tape over them so they don't try to undo themselves. All right, then we'll get a couple of even pieces for squaring up this side. Actually, I might. Take a smaller piece of tape. Maybe I need that other small one. Just to try to get this down in here. Just like that. I don't know if you can see or not, but okay, that's looking close, but we need one more strip of tape to run in there. I think I'll square up both ends. Oop, you hold still. And then I'll split this down the middle. we'll get down in here. Get a little more over here. Yeah, you know, something like that. I'm gonna try to get this a little more squared off. Alright, so I think we got a pretty decent template here to work with. Alright, so let's, holy fuck, let's peel this off. Normally this tape hasn't been biting in very much to the wool, but this little piece was. Okay, there we go. She's relaxed a little bit. Alright, set this back down here. So here is our little template. Let's get some metal, trace it out and cut it out. It's kind of an odd looking one. Alright, I'll cut her, get her all traced up here. Yeah, you know, something like that. There's our template. I'm going to cut it out, but that's probably don't need to see how to do that, so I'm going to save some footage here. Alright, here's a piece. Now I'm just going to kind of try to form it in here, get an idea. I cut it a tiny bit bigger than it needed to be, just to be safe. This side's looking alright. So I'm just trying to get it kind of close here, and then I'll go and I'll heat this up. I think it's close enough right now to heat up, and then so I'm gonna go do that, clean the marker off, heat it up, and then we'll come back and form this thing into place and tack it on. Alright, I'll show heating this one up too. So this is the side that's going to show, so I'm going to heat the underside. You don't want to get too close. Keep it moving. Start and stop as much as you need to. See the table's acting like a big heat sink in the middle, so I'm going to lift it up. looks beautiful. That'll work. Look at the good boy rolling. Yeah, good boy. He's gonna come looking for a treat now. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? You licking your chops like I'm gonna give you something, huh? Alright, I suppose. There you go, buddy. Alright, let's get this piece fitted up. We can be done with this. Alright, so it seems like these bottom pieces kind of want to get flared up a little bit. So we'll give them a hand with that. Kind of make our wings a little bit. Let's try that. Yeah, that's not looking bad. Might even do it. Yep, I think that's gonna work. All right, so I think I'll go ahead and just throw a few tacks here in the center. Kind of keep it, kind of get it locked in where it's at. All right, I should kind of stay there, and we can finish forming around the rest of the way. Oh yeah, it's looking pretty good. Okay, is this a little long? How's this side looking? This side's looking pretty good. The other side. And shit, I suppose I could probably trim that up a little bit. Right in here, it's a touch long. See if I can pop this out of here. And I just want to trim right kind of here in the center to follow the circle. See if I can get this shit to cut. I could even roll it over. Oh, there we got a little cut. These scissors seem to do a better job of cutting with just the tips. It's just barely hanging on there, yep. Come on, fucker. Alright, there we go. Let's see if that makes it happy. Yeah, it's better. is definitely better. I could probably do a little bit more here. Right there, this piece here. Try coming from here. There we go. Get that little piece out of there. There we go. Alright, this side looks good. And this side, I think that side's fine. Alright. So let's see if we can put some tacks in here. All right. Shoot for putting this there right. There. Get this one right. There. Get a couple up the top here. Get this pressed in. Okay. Now we'll go to the other side. Looks like that's going to want to be right around there. We'll get a few on the side here. Alright, and I like to come back through, and if you got any large openings, you can close them up and tack them again if you want. Alright, she's done. Again, not too bad to do, just time consuming. Yeah, that's it. So hopefully that gave you guys some help on if you've never done it before and you want to give it a shot. Not that bad. So there you go. Peace. All right, here it is, back on the car. Yeah, still on the fence on what to do about the downpipe, but yeah, I kind of like the darker color of the turbine housing. Yeah, not sure if I should leave the silver alone. I could try to heat it up from the outside, but I haven't had a ton of luck getting even coloring. So I don't know, maybe I also thought about painting it like with the high temp VHT paint, but I could just leave it like this too. Not 100% sure, so I think I'm just going to leave it for now, and I'm going to move on to getting the wire harness done on this thing, and then I'll come back and visit this. But yeah, I'm glad to at least have the downpipe and turbine housing knocked out, and yeah, I think we're going to go into the wiring next.